Hey, welcome Washington State Wrestling. We got Tim Weiner on here, but he had to make a quick run to go get some coffee. He's coming back with his tank top on. Look at those guns. Guns out, sun's out over there, right?
Justin likes my tank top a lot.
On here, but he had to make a quick run to go get some coffee. I got an echo in the background. Look at that.
Got a noise loop going.
Yeah, I got that fixed. But yeah, where's your Santa hat, Tim? I thought you'd be wearing that since you had that at the Ultimate Wrestler there in Bremerton 2 weeks ago or last week or whenever it was.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. And the little ball fell off too. Someone whapped it at the tournament and the ball went flying. Some little rowdy wrestler attacked Santa out there.
Knocked the ball off.
He knocked the ball off.
Right on. Well, hey, real quick, I want to recap some stuff. Then the point of this podcast, we wanted to talk with Coach Cook a little bit about the women's program there at Grays Harbor, some strategy stuff that they're doing as they get ready to go into preparing for nationals here in February, right? Or
yeah, February 10th, 11th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something like that.
Yeah. I know you guys have had a pretty successful season, but to start real quick, as most of you guys know, Washington State Wrestling Association, in conjunction with Ording High School and Tahoma High School and White River, and actually Toppenish, we are putting together our first annual My House Who's Number One of Washington. That's going to be December 27th at Tahoma High School. That day is actually going to be a fun day of wrestling where we have White River dueling Toppenish and Ording, Tahoma. Yeah, Enumclaw's there for the annual Battle of the Bones. Ording, Toppenish, White River, and Tahoma and Enumclaw. We're starting our duels at 9:00, and we're going to cap it. The crowning event of this day will be the My House Who's Number One featured match, Brock Hardy versus Mason Phillips. I know a lot of people have been talking about that on the message boards or on our Facebook or texting and talking. It's definitely going to be a good match. Mason and Brock are having good seasons so far. Mason's ranked 3rd in the country. Brock is ranked 5th.
Other way around, I think.
Mason's 3rd. Brock's 5.
Oh, I just read. I think I saw the Intermat one was like.
Oh, Brock, they flipped.
Yeah. Well, Brock just won Powerade, and he just won
Reno.
Reno. Yeah. It was Reno and what was Ironman. Yeah.
That's going to be exciting. Another thing that's kind of new, I kind of sent an email out, but we partnered with Track Wrestling. We're starting to stream a lot more of our events. We had Tri-State this last weekend that we streamed. We have Pasco Duels that is hosting a tournament December 23rd that we're streaming. We have some regionals and district tournaments we're streaming. We're going to be streaming a lot of our freestyle and Greco matches. So when you get on, it gives you an option of buying an individual pass. If you know your kids are doing freestyle and Greco, I would recommend buying our season pass, which is $54, or you can buy the $10 pass each time. But you're going to get Tri-State, Best of the West. You have Deer Park Invitational on there. You're going to have the women's Winter Cup, the boys Winter Cup. My House Who's Number One is on there. You can watch all the duels from home. Obviously, we want you to come out and support and make some noise and be loud and rowdy. This is going to be an event that's not a WIAA event. It's a USA event, but it's definitely going to be a packed house with a lot of noise, and we want to have our younger athletes to come watch some of our college level wrestlers that are headed off to college next year. Another great matchup, I think, is going to be 195 J.J. Dixon versus Jackson McKinney. Is going to be a really good match. I think at 106 is Yusuf Lilly versus Chase Randall. Chase is just coming off a Tri-State win. I think he won it 2 years in a row now. He's a sophomore out of Meade. I think that's going to be a great matchup. I think Yusuf will have his hands full. I'm a Yusuf fan. I'm a Chase fan. I think the match can go either way. Following the My House Who's Number One of Washington, Mark Sprague is actually hosting a camp with Chris Feist there. It's a legs on, legs off camp, I believe. And that's December 28th and 29th at Tahoma High School. So we kind of just want to give a shout out for those guys for coming and hosting. We lost Anthony Colica due to travel arrangements as one of our coaches. So we still have Anthony Robles is coming in, Division I national champion out of Arizona State. And Coach Sprague offered to step up and and come and coach the other team. So we're honored to have Coach Sprague come in and be a part of this event with us. I know he does a lot with our Washington wrestlers and camps around. And, I actually did a podcast with Mark Sprague a couple weeks ago. Afterwards, Matt Lindland messaged me. I can't remember if it was on LinkedIn or Facebook or something. And he just was talking about how great of a coach he was and how much he's changed his life, not just in the wrestling world, but just in life in general. So I think we have a good coach in Sprague there. And so those are some of the big updates that we have. Obviously, Merry Christmas, everybody. We won't be doing a podcast until the end of or the beginning of next year. Of course, January 7th, we have the Oregon Classic qualifier. I believe Cedar Woolley has a tournament December 31st prior to that. So go get tuned up, get ready to go, hit a camp. I know, Andy Cook, you're hosting a camp there at White River this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I believe, the 21st through the 23rd.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that camp that you and Scott Norton from Highline Community College is going to be our junior college program here in Washington. He's going to be there. Tim Kitchen, who's a good friend and an awesome coach. Head coach at White River is also there with Ruben Navarez, who wrestled for the Marine Corps. And of course, our favorite, Andy Cook. It's just going to be a great conglomeration of some good wrestling, obviously some great coaching. I'll put my part in, probably work on a ton of position and counter offense is what I'll assume to start with. And then we'll move through and see what we need to work, what they want me to work. And I'm excited about that. Just trying to get over this little cold spell I've had here, so I'm trying to break through that so I feel good out there and not hacking and coughing while I'm coaching. Man, don't get our kids sick.
No, I should be on the mend by then, but it's been a fun little week here. I actually got to go down to California for a week and hang out down there and do some recruiting, run a couple clinics down there, and had a couple of my local Northern California girls compete in a tournament this last weekend. So we had a couple kids place and went and battled, got revenged a few losses. So that was really fun. And that's kind of the program. Got the girls on Christmas break. They come back the 27th. So actually I'll be at my house, who's number one there in Tahoma. I figure I'll come up sometime in the morning time and try and catch some of those duels and watch that finale. Obviously Mason's one of my athletes that I've worked with a lot. So I'm real excited to see that matchup. Brock is a super game opponent and couldn't be better for our state to have Mason in that matchup. It would be great to see him catch a victory there.
Mason's looking sharp. It's going to be fun to watch those guys.
Absolutely,
That's the ticket right there, and then everything else. Every match is going to be worth the ticket.
No doubt. Yeah. So it's exciting stuff. I'm real pumped about how Washington USA Wrestling's been growing and grabbing a hold of some of these opportunities. I know with the cadet duels coming in, that's a huge deal, and I know we've definitely put some bids in, maybe possibly try and get the WCWA national tournament up here. I don't know if that's going to work out, but that's all stuff that's in our hands, right? And we've been kind of
bidding on it.
Yeah. It'd be great to have it. Great for Washington State and the Northwest and all the West Coast to have that showcase, of our athletes, because there is some great stuff going on here.
Yeah, so. We're getting up every day and trying to do something, and you're seeing a few results. There'll be a lot more to come, but we're trying to run things more like a business and embrace new technology and go after things. And Justin's just doing great. So we're on our journey and things are going good. Stuff like this, my house. It's all of our key directives. We want to grow awareness. We want it to be more inclusive. We want to bring the whole community out. We want to grow our sport, and this is really a great chance to highlight athletes. And you got Mark Sprague down there. Anybody watching this, bring your kid to a Sprague clinic. Bring your kid to a Sprague clinic, and then bring him to another Sprague clinic.
Yeah, he's only coached multiple Olympians. And
He's
every great wrestler out of the Northwest has seen him.
Well, speaking of Olympians, I do know Brian Owen is hosting at the Inland Northwest Training Center here in Spokane, George Ivanoff, January 6th here in Spokane. So that's definitely out there. He was a 2015 World Team member and a 2016 Olympic team member for Bulgaria. So he'll be here in Spokane doing a camp for some of our kids as well. So there's not only do we have some cadet duels and national events coming our way, but we have some, we had Logan Stieber come out here to Spokane. I know Boomer and I have been talking about getting Hancock and Kamal Bay out here, the first part of February between folk style and freestyle season to do some camps, barring travel arrangements. Both of those guys said they would if we can, set a date that works for their schedule.
Look, I know Kamal has a great relationship with a couple of my girls on my team, so we've already been talking about bringing him out. He was going to come out and work with us, so we'll make sure that happens because that's
let's do it. And I talked to him a couple months ago. So we'll get
here's the problem with the whole thing is that all these guys are going to the wrong side of the state, Andy. You see that?
Yeah, well, we'll fix that.
You got Brian over here working magic.
They're doing awesome. We got to compete over here. The problem is Cooker's out of town too much. When he's around more, we're going to pull him down, right? And
you guys take a look at my billings over the last 5 years. I've had probably 10 world team members. I've had multiple national team members, current national team members, current NCAA All-Americans. Brought them all over here into the West Side too. So
let's do it.
That's happened. Already been happening. And I know you guys got that going on there at the farm too. Those Okie State boys are coming in and with Zach and got some great stuff happening. So
yeah, we're working on a little cultural exchange to Hawaii there in the background, and we're gonna have some big fundraisers. We're gonna do that Hawaii raffle for the national team.
Okay.
And we're going to use Phil Pine's model to incentivize the athletes. He rocked it down there.
Yeah. Well, that was I was a big part of that. I know it was my team that was involved there. And so
you guys really kind of shed a light on a path we can all take over there. And that was awesome. So
pretty sweet.
Kind of coming together. I don't want to talk too much about those things till we got some money in the account. It's more fun to talk about spending the money once you get it.
Yeah.
But there's some cool stuff coming.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is pretty exciting. So Andy, real quick, just to kind of speed it up, I know some of our podcasts get long-winded, so if we can keep them a little shorter, I think people may tune in for all of it. But tell us a little bit what's been going on down there at Grays Harbor. I know you guys have had some good success over the past 2 months, but why don't you let us all know kind of what's been going on, some strategies that you've been taking with the team to prepare them as a young women's program here in Washington, and what your goals are for this year, maybe the next 1 to 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. As of right now, the girls are on Christmas break. They're going to be home until the 27th. And they're all supposed to be reporting back 27th, 28th. On the 29th, we'll be headed to Sijawuli, and we're going to have a day clinic starting in the morning time. And we'll be doing a clinic with the Sijawuli. They have a women's wrestling tournament, so a bunch of high school teams last year were involved. I'm sure it'll be pretty similar this year, and we'll have my group, Simon Fraser, who's the #1 ranked team in the nation, and then also Fraser Valley, who wrestles up in the Canadian division. So we'll do like a camp clinic through the day, and then at 5 p.m. we're going to do like a scrimmage wrestle, a duel, sorta with Simon Fraser and Fraser Valley. And then I'm going to take my girls after that up to Canada, and we'll train with Team USA. And with that Team USA crew, we'll just be up there. It's going to be Simon Fraser, Team USA, us, and a little crew. So we'll train through the second, and then on the third we take off for the national duels in Indiana. So we'll be out in Indiana up until I believe I fly back in like the morning of that Saturday morning. We get done on Friday. It's like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday event. And then I'll try and get over to gut check as soon as I get in from the national duels. But yeah, with the group I've got, I'm really pumped. We've got some great Washington girl representation with obviously Desiree Zavala leading the pack, a 4-time Washington State champ. She's currently ranked 4th in the nation at 136. And then I've got Casey Morehouse and Kateri Rowell are both. Casey is a returning All-American at 170. And then Kateri Rowell was also a Pan American Games member. So she, Junior Pan Am Games member. So she's running the bottom end. And then I've got a couple girls that are ranked. My 101 pounder, Nina Pham, is ranked 4th as well right now. And she's from California. She's a freshman. And then I have Paige Baines, my heavyweight, or 191 pounder. She's ranked 2nd right now. Just haven't had an opportunity to revenge the last matchup with the girl who's ranked 1st, but that hopefully we'll get that matchup one of these times against Simon Fraser. That's the matchup we're looking for. So now got a good group, strong team. Very excited about the growth that we've shown through this season, the maturity, the way they're bringing up these young girls, the girls that have a little less experience for freestyle and stuff. They're coming right into the room, and they have to be up to speed or else they'll get drowned. So it's been a fun process. Got a real good recruiting class started. Obviously this weekend we were down in California, so did some more recruiting, and hopefully we land a couple of the recruits that we were with down there. And obviously Kylie Hubby and Josie Gonzalez were down there from Washington, so it's great to see those girls competing. Man, Kylie had an amazing final, won in the last seconds, like legitimately reversed the girl near fall to win 4-2. And they called the fall, but the time ran out. But it was an incredibly awesome final for her. So it was fun to see our Washington girls go down there and compete and in place. Josie ended up 5th, I believe, at the event, which very, very strong competition. So it was cool to have a couple of my girls there to see and meet for these high school kids. And then and hopefully we put together a good recruiting class, and now in next year we can I think we chase a national title next year. It's going to be real tough this year. But I don't know, man. We've got the team that if this things just line up right, we can win the national tournament. It's just a matter of getting everything right in February. So we'll see kind of really where we stand at that national duels there the first week of January, and then from there we'll focus on putting the best lineup together and making sure that we're all the way tactically ready and physically ready and mentally ready. And we'll go attack that WCWA event and see if we can't shake it up. Obviously, we're a second-year program, so that gives us a touch of a disadvantage. We don't really have any upperclassmen on the lineup. We get just with one, Paige Baines, who transferred in. She's a junior. The rest are freshmen and sophomores. So just a young group. And I've got to work with them for just a few months now. Can't wait to see where we are in a year, 2 years from now with this base that we've built. And I think that we're going to be a real force to be reckoned with.
Oh, it's exciting that you have so many young kids. You got a lot of road in front of you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's been fun to see, too. Like, I challenged them all to send me snaps and send me video of them doing their workouts while they're home. And it's just impressive to see how dedicated they are and how mean, they're working and they're showing it and they're proving it and they're sending proof and they want it. So, you know, and I at this point time in the season, at some places, it's, you know, their teams are decimated with injury and morale. And I think that, you know, we're doing pretty good with that. So everyone's healthy and everyone's happy. And I mean, I can't say everyone's happy, but I'd like to think everyone's happy, and we're trudging right along. So.
Yeah, well, I know you put a lot into that. You got the construction project going in the off season.
Yeah.
Rebuilt your entire wrestling room. Pulled together the fundraising. I kind of watched. I follow Andy on the Facebook. Andy just does a great job of social media as a way to pull together his community. Managed to pull out. What did that cost? Talk about that.
It's pretty cool. It ended up costing actually Coach Pine did a pretty big donation, but it ended up costing us about $3,000 to build the floor. Got a real big discount on our plywood. That was really the cost, was the plywood. We had all the sticks, the 2x4 sticks and 2x6 sticks donated. And then the man hours we had, I mean, I donated my time, and then there was a few other, 3 or 4. I had a couple dads come in that were from my girls. I had athletes working, you know, couple of the athletes, one in particular out of Michigan. He helped a ton, had a bunch of equipment, was able to keep us up and running with drills and with stuff. So a big local supporter, Andy Portman, he donated his time and his engineering in abilities. And yeah, it was a little group thing, but boy, our room is so much nicer. Got a beautiful floor. We've got all those mats down. It's got a beautiful weight room in the back now. The school came forward and put together that for us. We've got a lot more support now from the school, knowing they've got some money invested into that building, and the work that we're doing obviously is drawing attention. So it's been nice just having more hands on deck, keeping the place tight and nice. And yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're doing great, man. I mean, it's a lot of heavy lifting, but that you don't need to build that floor again next year.
You know, right?
Yeah, you'll have a little time off this next year, but I admire how much energy you put into it. And I wanted to ask you, just specifically for people that are watching and have athletes and have tournaments coming up right now and are trying to coach their kids. What are you doing, to prepare kids in terms of strategy and getting their heads right before these big tournaments?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, strategy is, I think, the key to winning. It takes a lot of times a less athletic, maybe less skilled athlete, and we can strategize to beat somebody that's much, more accomplished in their careers. And how we do it, I think a lot of it, I try and ingrain into our practice schedule, into what we talk about when we're in the room, what we talk about when we're just like here's something simple. This is like probably the most simple, basic things that we use, and we don't even have to tell each other what handed an athlete is, just by typically watching what foot a person's leading with. You can even watch them just walk out to the line and put their foot on the line. They put their left foot on the line. Typically, they're a left-handed wrestler. They put their right foot on the line. Typically, they're a right-handed wrestler. So, and it's just innate in us to do that. Like if you were to wrestle me when I was coming up, I put my right foot on the line every time. I was a right-handed wrestler. I didn't hide that, obviously, but I didn't even know I had an indicator. Do you know what I'm saying? So as a program, that's one thing that I really try and hammer into these kids is just look at what hand, that they want to attack with. If maybe they got us on a couple takedowns or a takedown right away, a quick takedown, we'll just assess what hand was fired and then I'll have them go and work a control tie on that arm, slow a lot of times their attack hand down, and you'll see it frustrate good wrestlers. They'll shake their hand free, and if you're constantly gripping their hand that they want to attack with, and they get frustrated with not having the freedom to use that hand like they usually want. So that goes along with the fact that they may fire a shot that maybe they don't need to take, or maybe is a little bit wild to not get their hand caught. And then that's where we can take a kid that maybe we teach them, hey, they're going to get frustrated. We walk them to the edge and we get them panicky. We control their attack hand, and all of a sudden they're making bad attacks. And we're able to take advantage of frustration more than, great skill, I guess. I don't know. So I guess that's a tactic that we try and focus on and use with everybody. I use that with my best wrestlers as well. Obviously, my best wrestlers like to go out there and create and score, and that's one of the things that I live behind is scoring. Scoring in wrestling is the only way to win. So I typically take a younger athlete and I'll slow it down and help them score off of bad stuff coming at us. And then as they develop their skill set, and then we open up into some more offensive wrestling and tactic via scoring. And that's a whole nother podcast we could probably do.
Mm-hmm.
But
no,
yeah,
great. That's great stuff for people that are trying to figure this out. There's a lot of good tidbits right there.
Sure.
Thank you, and that's good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I'm going to wrap it up. We're hitting the minute mark. So, Andy, thanks again for joining us today. I know you got a pretty busy schedule with family and work and coaching and travel and all that. So you're going to be in Cedar-Woolley on the 29th, you said?
Yes, sir. Cedar-Woolley the 29th, and then I'm going to be over there in White River the next couple days here for the weekend. I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like you said, and then we'll just try and keep building and keep growing and keep loving on kids and go from there.
Yep. So will you be there for their WSWA tournament on the 31st?
No.
You'll already be in Canada?
Yeah, I'll be in Canada. We're going to take off from the event on the 29th. We'll head up.
Cool.
Head up to Canada. So.
All right. Well, just so you guys all know, Cedar-Woolley, December 31st, youth tournament. Let's go support them. They do a lot for WSWA here in our state. Great group of people. So them, and then obviously Bad Draw. Obviously want to give a shout out. Thank you, Bob Friend, for the shirt. Kelso Wrestling. Had to throw a plug in for that. I just realized I was wearing it on the podcast. I'm like, oh, normally I wear a Washington State Wrestling shirt. I'm like, oh, wearing Kelso. So they're doing great things. I love Bob and what he does for our state. So go Kelso. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Support Grace Hard Wrestling, everybody.
Yes. GHD. Hashtag good show. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye now.